I told somebody at lunch today, I don't sit with you guys and eat. I stand and eat at the bar. And I was teasing Rose because she was there selling her shite to a couple of unsuspecting. Robert's big enough to take care of himself, but the other two fucking idiots you were, and you know who you were talking about. I'm talking about familiarity breeds contempt, kids. Does everybody, for the non-English speakers, do you understand what familiarity breeds contempt? Do you understand what that means?
No. I mean, I understand the words, but...
Familiarity, being slappy, happy, friendly, kissy-wissy. Hey, you know, when they kiss the cheek like that? From a leadership point of view, breeds contempt. Because then they think the person that you're slappy, happy with, the person that you're, you know, God forbid, swapping bodily fluids with, they think that they'll have an edge in your decision-making process because it's harder to fire somebody, it's harder to keep people accountable if you like them. Now, there's little chance that I will like any of you, but I practice familiarity breeds contempt, so I don't eat with you, other than the evening meal. You don't see me at breakfast. You see me at lunch. I eat standing up at the bar. But I know myself well enough that there's no fucking chance, remote, a snowball's chance in hell that I'm going to like you. So I know it'll never affect my decision-making process, but I have good habits. Now you guys, on the contrary, do just the opposite. Because you're weak cunts, you want everybody to like you. Because you read some fucking personal development book that says if they like you, they're more likely to do what you ask them to do. See, the difference is I don't ask Henry to do fuck all. I tell him what the fuck to do. And I don't care about whether he likes me or he doesn't like me. Do you think Donald Trump gives a motherfuck if you like him? Do you think Steve Jobs, God rest his soul, gave a fuck if you liked him? Do you think Bill, and I can go on and on and on and on and on. The only cunts that this matters to is you. When we were talking, Fabian, not just letting too many secrets out, you were saying, you said, no, that's a fucking excuse, remember?
Yeah.
You said 4 or 5 times, he would say something to me and then he'd try to say something, no, that's a fucking excuse, never mind, I won't say that. Well, he caught himself. If you caught yourself every time you made a fucking excuse, you'd never open your fucking mouth. And you wonder why it's so hard to get down the playing field. And you wonder why there's so few people on the Hall of Fame. When you get out there, guys and Rose, and you exhibit some leadership, which you haven't heretofore, instead of slappy, happy, swapping tongues, and I don't mean that you're really kissing these people, but it's, to me, the way you treat each other, you might as well be fucking each other. You might as well get some fucking enjoyment to the extent that you're not a fuck. You might as well, swap some bodily fluids. And that's why I tell you when you come here, remember I told you don't bond. Because someplace you read a book, maybe you even listened to a podcast, God forbid, or an MP3, that this is the way you do it. This is the way you do it. That's why I told Henry, don't talk to these shitheads. You got a chance. The only thing he's got to overcome is that he's going to Oxford. Because that's got its all set of baggage. That's a whole other set of fucking baggage, which I can understand just by his smile on his face. So I'm not going to go there, okay, because you guys can't relate to that. I only can because I know guys from Oxford. I've had people in this seminar from Oxford, and I got some Hall of Famers from Oxford, about the same, one at least that was about the same age as him, that went there and ripped the ass out of America. And because ostensibly, when you do follow the program and you are smart, and we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. You may be the dumbest guy ever to get into Oxford, but we'll give you the benefit of the doubt that you're the average. And you go and you follow that pedigree, that Oxford pedigree means something. Not to me it doesn't, but to other people. And so, I don't know if they let their defenses down. I don't know exactly what it is. The mystique. Very similar to the Harvard mystique. And there's other schools in the world that have that same mystique. But in America, it's Harvard and the Ivy League schools. And in this country, it's Oxford, Cambridge. But the challenge you will have, you're going to have a lot of challenges, but one of the challenges, and I get in the reports, and Robert hears it on the Zoom conference calls. I guess and when you say I guess my leadership abilities aren't too good, if you've actually ascertained that, not too good, I mean that's a fucking misnomer of biblical proportions. They're non-existent. And it's not because you're not smart enough. They're non-existent because you haven't had any training, and only until recently there are no classes in leadership. And when I started giving this seminar 22 years ago, there was only one school in America, in the world, other than the military academies, that gave a degree in leadership. You could actually get a degree in leadership. And when I've taught at some of the universities around, and when I lecture, come in and do classes, one of the first questions I ask the business school students: how many kids have you? How many classes have you had in leadership? Please raise your hand. Not a fucking hand goes up. Second question I ask: how many classes have you had in selling a business? Not one fucking hand goes up. Third question: how many classes have you had in buying a business? No hands go up. And then normally, I got fired from one big university, so I look up and the dean of the School of Business is sitting up there. And you call this a fucking school of higher education and business learning? The three most important things that you can teach these sorry assholes: leadership, buying, and selling. And they have no classes in them, and they're here for 2 fucking years. What the fuck are you teaching them? Now, schools do have classes in leadership. Schools do have. They still don't have any in buying and selling companies. They have classes in entrepreneurship. Now, I don't know what that means. And to be fair, I haven't ever attended one. But my MBA son, he knew more, I believe, before he went to school without his MBA, because of just listening to my shite. And as he would say, we've been listening to the 5 Credo crap since second trimester in mommy's belly. Which is true, because I'm exactly the same. And as Kelly says, my daughter, Daddy treats everybody the same, like shit. So I've been, it's the same message. It's the same message. So getting back to, familiarity breeds contempt. Some of the people that you're working with now, you got a happy, slappy relationship. Canadians are just naturally happy, slappy. And I don't know why. Whereas the Australians aren't so happy, slappy, but they were just fucking criminals, the scourge of the earth a couple hundred years ago, when it was. And that's why probably the Americans get along better with them, the Canadians. That's a slight exaggeration, but not much of an exaggeration, because unless something's changed, the refined British look down, or have looked down in the past, maybe not today, but have looked down in the past at our convict brethren from on the other side of the world. And I heard one guy from the House of Lords tell me a long time ago, I was on a board with me, it's just, Mr. Peña, it's just as well they're on the other side of the earth. We don't have to deal with them too much. Actually. And he goes, and clicks his public school heels. Public school means private school in this country for the YouTubers that are from different parts of the world. So, QLA is not about making enemies. QLA is not about hurting people's feelings. But again, it's not your challenge. It's not your baggage, because the people you deal with are sensitive. That's not your... It will be one of the things that you have to deal with, but the main thing is you accomplish the thing, and failure is not an option. And the people that you're going to deal with, most people, failure is an option. In fact, very few people that you will deal with, failure isn't an option. Excuse me. And that's why when you implement the success fee, which is now in the 21st century, it's more palatable to call it delayed fees. The accountants and the lawyers will not kill a deal. And why won't they kill a deal? Because they won't get paid if the deal gets killed. And since 1984, I have not lost a deal that an accountant or a lawyer killed. I've lost deals, but not because the accountant and the lawyer killed it. And they're not doing something unprofessional. They're not doing anything illegal. They're not doing anything immoral or any of that. But they're being creative to make sure the deal gets done. Because if they don't get it done, they're not going to get paid. And that's one of the keys. One of the, it's like the golden chalice of QLA. Because it's not just you busting your backside to get the deal done. It's the lawyers and the accountants are getting the deal done. And when you get good at this, and you get both sides of the deal on a success fee or delayed fee deal, it's a thing of magic. Because then you've got both sets of professionals doing everything humanly possible to get the deal done. Everything humanly possible. That was my answer, and that's why I don't eat with you. That's why I stand by the kitchen and eat standing up. I also stand up because if I'm sitting on this thing, and it straightens out my arthritic knees to stand up and stretch my knees. But tonight I'll be sitting with you, unfortunately. And so we can exchange some intellectual banter, as they call it. Any question on that? Because you said you didn't understand familiarity breeds contempt. Do you understand it now?
Yeah, it was English problem.
English. And what language is your main language?
Deutsch.
German?
Yeah.
Oh, jawohl, mein Herr. Well, you're sitting next to the number one guy there. Not number one, but have you had to translate for him? No? Okay. Normally we swing Robert around to translate for the not lesser Germans, but the lesser English proficient Germans. And he's done it quite a bit over the years. Yes?
When you get the lawyers and the accountants on success fee,
Yes, sir.
they won't kill the deal, but don't they get lazy?
No, just the opposite. They get energetic. They're like a 15-year-old with a heart on. I mean, no. Just the opposite. They don't get lazy because they know they won't get paid unless the deal goes through. And your question, quick, Rose.
My question was about the familiarity breeds contempt. I understand that with your employees, and that doesn't apply to the dream team, or does it?
No. The dream, well, you're not going to be swapping spit with the dream team either. But the dream team are already professional. They've already got more experience than you. They know better. So that won't be a problem.
Your mentor.
No, your mentor, you're not, going out to dinner with your mentor is not necessarily being familiar. And they may ask you how your kid's doing. They don't really give a shit. But they ask you, how are your kids? I very seldom, unless I know the kid, I don't say how your kid's doing. Unless I'm trying to start up a conversation, I walk in somebody's office, and I see he's a skier, I see this, I see that, and I try to build up some rapport. But other than that, I don't ask how your kid's doing. And I can't, with one or two exceptions, nobody ever asks me. But of course, they know I'm not interested, so they don't want to, be too familiar because they know I don't like it. Okay, YouTubers, see you later.